Now, very interesting picture here at Shivericks Pond. Brings back old memories when we were young. There's a lot of stories about Shivericks Pond I could tell. The Shiver family lived on Main Street, where the post office is today. I even saw them tear the old house down in the 40s to build a post office. But the old Shivericks house and the one next to it, they named the pond after the Shivericks. Now, it was a large pond then. It went from behind Eastman's and had a big cove in there. Mm-hmm. When we were kids, Eastman built a cement wall there, and when we were kids in the 30s, we'd sit on that cement wall and put our skates on. But now it's all filled in, and they built Catherine Lee Bates Road. Goes through this, so it's changed them. And in this picture I have, it shows a little cottage and the old ice houses that stood there. That location now is where the new pumping station is, where those ice houses were. And they used to get ice. Now, as little kids, some ice houses were there in the 30s. They were abandoned. And we could jump from a stone wall right next to the academy building. We could jump right over on the roof, slant roofs of those old ice houses and run all over the roof in the summer. And we had fun as kids. One man, he was always getting hurt. He fell through one of the hatches up above and broke his leg. He fell down the sawdust where they packed the ice in, and the poor guy broke his leg. Well, anyway, but years later, I'm going to the 30s, it was all the locals would go to Shivericks Pond for years, great entertainment. And later on, when they built the new police station behind the town hall, mm-hmm. Yep. They built a nice big pier. So then we could sit on that pier and put on our ice skates. And just off to the left, always had a bonfire. Oh. Always people bought wood, rubber tires, whatever. We always had a bonfire. And one year, I remember, a whole gang of us, after Christmas, it got very cold and the ponds froze solid. But on Main Street, they had all these Christmas tree and racks. They took all the lights off. The trees were just sitting there. So we went up in January. A whole gang of us collected all the trees and pulled them down to the pond. And we put them, and we had the biggest bonfire anybody's seen on that pond as kids. Then, good thing then, across Shivericks Pond, you could skate. It was a big pond way up behind the library. And we'd skate all over the pond. And there was a canal connecting, a nice 6-foot wide canal, river, connecting Weeks's Pond with Shivericks. And we could skate right through with no problems. And we'd skate from one pond to the other. And the kids from the other side would have a bonfire over there. So we'd go over and skate through the canal way over and visit their bonfire. Then we'd come back and skate. The pond was big then, all over we had fun. And a lot of strange things happened through the years. There's some sad things happened way back when they used to cut ice on the pond, years before my time. This horse, unfortunately a horse, drowned. They used horses to drag the big saws and the hunks of ice, and the poor horse went in, they couldn't save it. And another local fellow, young fellow in the 20s drowned. I shouldn't say that, I know it's sad. But anyhow, it's all changed now. That little river's all overgrown. They built the new extension of Bourne Avenue Catholic to the new school. There's conduits on the, and I go, it's all full of shopping carts and rubber tires, trash. It's all blocked. It's too bad they don't clean that out like it used to be. It was beautiful. Now, Shivericks Pond, sometimes we get down there, early skating on the weekend, and sure enough, cold morning, there was some kind people there. Always, they chop a hole for the ducks. But one morning we went, sure enough, the ducks were frozen overnight, sleeping in that little, and they were frozen. They were frozen, so guess what? Don't worry, they went and got their axes. Chopped all around, chop, 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 save ducks. And that happened more than once, the poor little ducks. And we always chop a swimming hole for the ducks. Then the other group over here would have a hockey rink, play hockey. Mm-hmm. And the rest of it. Oh, and a funny story. During the war, we're all on the pier behind the police station. Oh, and my sister and all her girlfriends, they all had their skates on, and it was during the war. This is funny. And sure enough, the soldiers come down looking for Main Street over the pond, looking around, found, wow, look at the boat. Oh, look at them young girls. So sure enough, down the pond they come. What did they left to buy? I don't know. Oh, here comes the wise guys from Texas Division. We'll fix them. So the boys come down, they'd skate out about 20 feet. Hi, fellas. Hi, young fellas. Oh, and they'd get on the ice, slipping and sliding around, chase the girls over here. As soon as they got near them, they'd skate off to another place. Oh, boys, we're over here. They teased them. They had fun. It was all in fun. They laughed. They knew what was happening. They had their fun, too. Trying to chase some young girls all over the pond, slipping and sliding and falling. But a lot of good things happened. And way back before the turn of the century, I got old pictures, of course, at Stoker Society. They used to make wooden, like kites, with old sheets or something, and use them as wind to skate across the pond using the wind. Oh. Like kites, drag them all over the pond. That was an old entertainment back then. And Shivericks Pond. And one more funny story, if you don't mind. My father named Fish. Well, this man came to Falmouth looking for my father. And he asked different people, do you know where Mr. Fish lives? Yes. One wise guy said, yes. He lives down behind Eastman's block. Sure enough. The man walked down this little road down behind Eastman's. There's a pond. Well, he saw the guy. He says, well, that's where he lives. It's a pond, ain't it? My father was furious. But we had, and another quick joke, they'd ask the tourists would come to Falmouth. I'm going way back in the 1917, 18, my father was young. And the tourists would come. And my father met a tourist in the post office in Eastman Block then. And so he said, Sir, I find there's a lot of strange, odd people down here on the Cape. And I said, yes, I agree with you. But don't worry. Come Labor Day, they'll all be gone. They'll all be gone back. Okay?
You're good.
Very good.